Hello, welcome into WLOY, Loyola Radio, streaming online at WLOY.org and Campus TV channel 111.1. You're listening to After the Whistle, Loyola's premier sports talk radio show, airing every Monday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. Welcome into a jam-packed Friday edition of the show. I am your host today, Jeffrey Bazzi, alongside my co-host, Jimmy Cody. Jimmy, how are you on this fine Friday afternoon?
I'm all right. I'm all right. Obviously, going through some pain, but I'll be okay. Pain is just weakness leaving the body. No big deal. But I'm excited for the Super Bowl this weekend. We have a great game between, I think, two of the best teams in the league. Like, really, like we could not have gotten a better matchup. The best quarterback against what a lot of people consider to be the best overall roster. So we'll see. Eagles made a lot of moves this year. I don't know. Actually, I wanted to ask you this. Did you see Howie Roseman said something about Carson Wentz?
I did not.
Oh yeah, so he said I don't remember who was reporting it. It was like one of the Eagles like team reporters. Don't really remember. I think it was the guy was from the Inquirer. So it was an interview with Howie Roseman at Super Bowl week, and he said it was about Carson Wentz. It was like, yeah, if you're like afraid of competition being brought in behind you, then you're probably not the right guy.
Ooh.
So that must have implied Carson Wentz probably pissed when Jalen Hurts was drafted. And it must have been really because Howie must have already had some preconceived notions that he didn't like things about Carson Wentz.
Yeah, he must have known that
But it makes
something
no
was going to
sense because they
happen.
also gave him that big contract.
Right. They extended him for multiple
Yeah.
years. A
It
lot of
must have
money
been after
too.
that one season. They must have just saw a lot of things that were just like, this is Carson Wentz's fault.
And they didn't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah, I still think it was, I mean, it ended up, I guess you could say working out now because they are in the Super Bowl. But Doug Peterson, I felt like really got the raw end of that deal, but he must have had like his own problem or something, or he must have just wanted out. I mean, it's still the
Yeah, I know
weirdest
that
thing.
Peterson and Wentz that last season in 2020, they didn't really get along very well.
Paul Wentz played horrible. I mean, I know the team around him wasn't too great. You guys have nothing, but it's just worth acknowledging that.
No, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I
because
wonder if
it obviously worked out because Jalen Hurts finished second in MVP voting last night. Although Patrick Mahomes got 48 of the votes, Jalen Hurts only got one, and somebody voted for Josh Allen. Who was voting for Josh Allen? What
wow.
an idiot! Yeah, come on, watch the games. Let's go.
Well, I wonder if when Jalen Hurts was drafted, if Wentz was just thinking, "Oh, I gotta really beat out this guy." I mean, there must have been some kind of pressure there.
Yeah, I don't know. He probably just didn't like any
Maybe he
competition.
thought there's no chance this guy's gonna take my job, but I don't know.
No, because it seems like he was concerned about it enough. So I don't know. Very weird thing, but should we start the festivities for today?
Yeah, we have a lot to get into. We
Yeah, we
have
do.
a Super Bowl preview show, obviously, and also, not to mention, an absolute electric day of NBA trade deadline deals that we'll
Yeah,
probably get into. We have a lot of guests coming on, so definitely have to hear what they say. But yeah,
absolutely. And the first one's going to be coming on in just a minute. We got 5 callers today. I'll talk about the different topics and whatnot. So yeah, we will be getting to that soon. And I believe the first one is here. Matt McHale, can you hear me?
Yes, Jerry, I can hear you.
Okay, that sounds good. How are things? How are things right now?
Things are, I can't complain. Actually, I could complain, but if I complained, nobody would listen.
All right, that's a interesting way.
How's your ankle, Mr. Cody?
It's coming along. It's just one injury at a time. So we'll figure that out.
Do you blame Patrick Mahomes for that injury?
No, I don't blame Patrick Mahomes for that injury. And I do think he might have had something to do with it. Sorry, we were trying to put you on a mic so that way everyone could hear you a little bit better, but it doesn't seem like it was. Yeah, it was.
The people want to hear the ghost.
Yeah, the people do want to hear the ghost. Absolutely, they want to hear the ghost. All right, I'm not going to waste any more time. We're not here to talk about my ankle. Yeah, Mahomes probably had something to do with it. Whatever. He's a clown. Point is, I hate that guy. I don't even want to talk about him. But Mikhail, I want to ask you something because you were Mr. Kyrie Irving not too long ago. You loved the Nets, you loved everything about them, and now the run is over, right? Like Katie's gone, he's a son now, Kyrie's gone, and all you're stuck with is Ben Simmons and just a lonely team. I mean, you got Cam Thomas, he's a cool story, but Matt, like let's hear about the dumpster fire. Air it out for us.
Listen, man, we building around Cam Thomas. They got him on the bench. He's not even a bench player.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
He's not even a bench player. You see the production. You talking about Cam Thomas. You talking about work. You talking about production. He's the one that put the ball in the basket. I'm not worried about anything, Mr. Cody.
All right, so I guess you're implying that you're going to build around Cam Thomas. I don't know if Cam Thomas alone is going to be enough for you
Not
to.
right now, but give it 2 years, give it 3 years, you're gonna see him all over the news. You're gonna see him all over the headlines as Mr. Cam Thomas.
Maybe, but you also got some other nice pieces back. Obviously, Mikal Bridges is a nice player, so maybe you can go on from there and start building a team. You also got a lot of picks. I think that's the thing that you should be the most excited about, or at least I would be the most excited about is the picks.
Additionally, too, they acquired Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie,
Oh yeah, Spencer
Cam
Dinwiddie.
Johnson.
Yeah, Cam
They have
Johnson.
some nice wing players, a lot of wings.
Yeah, no, they have. Well, they kind of do have that similar roster again, right? And they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot with this where they are in the standings.
We're gonna make a run in the playoffs. We're gonna make the second round of the playoffs. Then we'll probably lose to the Bucks or something. But we'll beat any other team in the Bucks be beating a 7-game series right now.
All right, so you think the Nets can beat the Celtics?
Yeah.
That's a little ridiculous. Come on, you're just saying that because you're a Nets fan. There's no way you actually believe that. Come on. Boss, you want to respond? The floor is yours.
I'd take the Sixers.
All right, so there's a lot of disrespect towards the Nets, but I don't want to waste any time because I want to get into the Super Bowl. Mikhail, give me something from the Super Bowl. Just give me something that you're looking forward to here.
I'm more worried about that. The Super Bowl. No, I'm not worried about the Super Bowl. That's the Giants and the Broncos. That's what I'm saying. It's over. Like we don't. I'm not. I think I mean, I'm a Giants fan, so I think maybe the Chiefs will win, but I'm not.
Yeah, no, I got it. You want the Chiefs to win. Doesn't any Giant fan? That would be the normal thing. I mean, listen, I want the Chiefs to lose, so that's just how it's going to be. Listen, though, I want to say this really quickly about the Super Bowl. I'm excited about the teams. Fozzie, what's something you're the most looking forward to here, though? I want to get you in here.
Yeah, no, the game's going to be really exciting. I just hope that it's entertaining throughout, but I'm looking forward to the offenses because I think both teams can really put up a lot of points. And I think for the Eagles, I don't know if they're in a shootout, I think they can win, but I don't know if they will just because I feel like shootouts are probably more tailored towards Mahomes. And especially if the Eagles are playing from behind, I feel like that could be a disadvantage. But I don't know. If they're playing from ahead, I think that's the key. I think whoever gets out to the lead first, I think that's huge. I'm looking for the offenses to kind of set the tone because these teams are really built around the offenses, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're definitely built around their offenses. Also, another thing too is I don't think people really respect the Chiefs defense, and that's fine. I mean, they played a good game last week, but I don't know if I'm really expecting them to hold up against this Eagles team. Like, there's some really good offensive players, like especially on that O line. That's really I think the biggest advantage you have is that your O line against their D line. Because besides Chris Jones, they don't have that many great players on their D line. He's one guy, but if anybody's capable of blocking him, especially seeing what the Eagles did against the 49ers great defensive line, it's the Eagles O line.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Chris Jones is the main guy. They have other guys too, because they can sack the quarterback. They get a lot of sacks. They've had, I think, the second most sacks this year of any team. So they know how to get to QBs. But yeah, I would like the Eagles O-line in that matchup. I think I would take my chances.
All right, Mikhail, I want to give you the floor again one last time here before we move on. What do you want to talk about today? What did you call in for? The floor is yours.
I want to you said about the Chiefs and that they ran over the Broncos easily.
Oh, they didn't run over them easily. It was a close game both times.
They beat them twice, though.
They did. They beat them twice. It's been 15 games.
15 games?
Yeah, it's been 15 games, all right? Yeah, when you're going up against Patrick Mahomes, it's not that easy. Especially when we got, like, Hackett coaching the team. The guy's terrible. No duh.
I compare the Broncos Chiefs like the Jets Patriots pretty much.
Yeah, it's probably the same thing. You're 100% right. I mean, it's embarrassing to say that, but it is the truth.
You're talking about you guys talking about Melvin Gordon. I saw in your story that Melvin Gordon. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm humble. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I know. He's on the Chiefs now. You know that? Yeah, he's on the Chiefs practice squad for everybody who does not know that, which is kind of funny. So he'll have his chance, I guess, at a ring via Mahomes. All right, Mikhail, we're a little short here on the timing. So anything you want to get out here one last time?
No, listen, Cody. I just hope you feel better. I'm happy to be on the show.
All right. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate it as always.
Thank you, Mikhail.
One of our first callers in this on this program, Matt McHale.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, Mikhail.
All right. Peace out.
All right, so we'll move on to Eddie Ronin. I know he was calling me a couple minutes ago, but Mikhail was obviously taking up his time there. So, Jeff, let's get back more into the form of the game here. We can stop the Broncos and Nets talk. Let's talk about how do you think the Chiefs like match up to you guys? Like, where do you think your advantages lie?
I think our advantages, the Eagles' advantages, are probably, I don't know, they're our wide receivers against their corners. I mean, I know I said that 2 weeks ago when we played the Niners, and I felt like they didn't really use the wide receivers too much, but I feel like AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are probably a better matchup than whoever the Chiefs corners are. I honestly can't even name their corners. I don't know who they are, but
The Chiefs corners.
the Chiefs corners.
Okay, so the Chiefs corners. Well, they have McDuffie, who is a rookie.
Okay.
He's new, and then on the other side, I'm pretty sure they have L'Jarius Sneed.
Oh,
Which will be
okay.
back.
All right.
Yeah, so that's their corners, the Chiefs' corners. So I mean, not the best matchup for the Chiefs on their end.
Yeah, I would also like our O line against their D line. I think that's more of a evenly matched matchup, but
I don't know, I would give the advantage to the Eagles,
yeah.
especially after the way they played against 49ers D line.
I mean, I love our O line. I have total confidence
Best in
in
the
all
NFL.
5 guys out up there, especially Kelsey in the middle. He's just such a rock in the middle. But I don't know if you're gonna ask me where there'll be a disadvantage. I'm trying to think. I mean, quarterback, you got to give it to Mahomes. Mahomes is better than Hurts. I know Hurts has had an MVP caliber year, but Mahomes is a different breed.
Yeah, no, absolutely, he's a different.
He can make any throw at any time, and I think just the off scheduling plays is something that he can do really well. And Hurts can do the same thing too. Hurts is probably more of a running threat than Mahomes is, but we see Mahomes time and time again just come out of nowhere and make these huge 20, 30-yard runs. And he's more than capable, especially now that his ankle is probably way more healed than it was before.
Yeah, his ankle is good, and that I guess will be good for him because he's going to be able to move around and he's so tough to sack. And I think that's
right. And then the other one, I don't know how I forget, but Travis Kelce.
Yeah, Travis Kelce as well. He literally cannot be defended by anyone on the field just regularly. You're going to have to come up with a pretty amazing scheme to stop Travis Kelce. All right, without further ado, I want to welcome in Eddie Ronan. He's been waiting here. Eddie, how are you today?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, of course.
All right, let's get your thoughts on the game. How do you see it? You're an Eagles fan. You know what's going on around here, so let's hear it.
Yeah, no, I'm very nervous, but like good nervous. Like I feel like cautiously optimistic. I want to say like I'm not, going in here thinking it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a close game regardless, win or lose. But I just know that at any point in the game, I don't care how big of a lead hypothetically we could have. I'm never gonna be comfortable like knowing that they have Mahomes and Urita like on the other side. Like, yeah. So I think it's gonna be a close game. I think it'll be on the high scoring end for sure. But yeah, no, I'm very excited, but definitely nervous. I wouldn't say confident, but I think cautiously optimistic is a good word for how I'm feeling.
All right. I mean, that's how you want to feel, right? Cautiously optimistic. You want to be confident about your team. You want to, of course, think, oh, like we have a chance today in this game. Obviously it's a Super Bowl, so you definitely have a chance because you wouldn't be here if you had no chance. And frankly, you've played really well in the playoffs. You've been able to overcome the 2 teams that you faced. Obviously, it was the Giants. I mean, they were what they were, but you blew them out pretty easily after their win over the Vikings. And then you played against the 49ers. The quarterback situation for them was not great, but you still won the game. You took care of business. You did what you needed to do. Do you have any concern that maybe you haven't been challenged that much? Like either of you, Jeff, I can start with you, but Eddie, you can go actually first.
Yeah, no, I think like I understand that argument. I guess like defensively, I understand that. I think last week I understand everything that happened. With Purdy, but that's still a very good defense, and we rushed for 4 touchdowns. So like. I feel good there. Like I know Bosa got banged up too on that like freak.
Yeah, the injury on the punt is what he was talking about.
So yeah, we have to face the guy all year. So I mean, I think that's a very very fair point. And then just another thing that I'm kind of like worried about, like not being not the not testing thing, but something that I've been worried about is kind of a little off topic here, but like Hurts' deep ball. like ever since he came back from that shoulder injury, I saw something. He's like 4 for 25 on balls over like 20 to 15 yards or something. So I think that could be something. I mean, like I know they have they had like 2 rookie cornerbacks, right? I like our receivers over their corners, but I don't know. That's something that's kind of worrying me too.
No, yeah, that's a good point, Eddie.
100%. I was gonna go off of what Eddie just said. I think the deep ball is probably my concern. I feel like in the Giants game, not the playoff game, but the Week 18 matchup, I don't know, he was coming back from the injury. He looked a little tentative, so I'm not gonna give him a total pass, but I felt like I don't know, he didn't really try to throw it as much. He was just kind of trying to get his motion back or whatever. But I thought in the Niners game, especially, I feel like he was just missing on a lot of open deep shots. And he got away with it just because the Niners didn't really have a quarterback in that game after Purdy and Johnson went down. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like in this game, you need to hit the deep ball, especially with Kansas City secondary not being too strong. So I think he needs to get that sorted out.
No, absolutely. I definitely agree with you guys on that. That's something that's not really being talked about that much is Jalen Hurts' injury because they've been winning the games and they've been winning them so easily. So that's good. That's kind of like one area that they definitely, I would say, does not get highlighted. Especially too, it's not like you guys have needed him where it's like, we need a touchdown here. We need Hurts to get scramble across the field and then throw a 30-yard bomb to AJ Brown or Devontae Smith over the middle, like whatever it is. You really haven't asked him to do that because you've just been running the ball so well, like you said, and the O-line's been so dominant too.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like there's just a lot of options they go to. But I was going to ask Eddie a question.
Of course.
Eddie, out of the running backs, I know that we have 3 pretty good ones that we give the ball to pretty often, but we definitely give the ball more to Sanders and then Gainwell and then Scott. But I don't know, who do you trust more? Do you kind of just feed all 3 kind of equally? You feed one more than the other? Because I don't know. I feel like we have a lot of options there.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Jeffrey. And it's funny you say that because I was talking to Christian earlier. I guess I trust Sanders the most, but I mean, maybe it's because they haven't been the closest games, but we've been kind of using Gainwell a lot. And I was telling Christian how from that, 2017, Gainwell is reminding me so much of Corey Clement because just like the second running back thing, so I think. I mean, I guess if you're asking me straight up, who I trust more would be Sanders, but I kind of have this hunch that I think Gainwell is going to be get in the end zone and have a good game. I don't have much rationale behind it, just basically kind of what I've seen. But again, he's haven't been the closest game, so maybe that's why he's been out there more. But yeah, I mean, I guess I trust Sanders more. But I don't know. I feel like game was almost I don't know. Sanders loves getting in the end zone, so it's tough. But I mean, regardless, I trust both these guys a lot. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but interested to hear it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said Gainwell because I feel like whenever Gainwell has the ball, he does something good with it. And I'm not saying Sanders doesn't do bad things with the ball. It's just sometimes he gets the ball and he getting a little indecisive. Sometimes he'll try to run one way and then he'll change his mind, and sometimes he'll lose yards. But I feel like they're going to give Sanders the bulk of the carries because that's what they've been doing all year. They're not going to just completely go away from that. But I feel like Gainwell in certain situations, I don't know, 2nd and 5 or in the red zone, I feel like he's a guy that needs to get the ball.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I agree with that, Jeffrey, 100%. There was actually a guy standing behind you in an Eagles jersey the entire time. There was a Trent Cole jersey, so just fun fact for everybody.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I know. I was just staring at him the whole time. I think it was a photographer in the senior portraits. He was wearing it when I went.
I did hear that he was wearing an Eagles jersey.
Yeah, there he is. There he is. He's flying in the window.
There he is.
Yeah.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Yeah. No. Very random jersey choice, but definitely a fan for sure. Trent Cole was a solid starter.
He was a long time Eagles starter.
Yeah, I was
great
say.
player.
Yeah, he was a defensive end, right?
He was, I think, or linebacker. I'm not exactly sure.
Pass rusher, though.
Pass rusher, yes.
All right, so Eddie, let's hear the one thing that you're most excited for about the Super Bowl, but besides the game. Obviously, we were excited for the game, but give me something else, like the food, the halftime show. Give me something.
It's a great question. Honestly, it's something I haven't put a lot of thought into. Yeah, I mean, I guess watching with other Eagles fans, that'll be fun. Last Super Bowl I watched with my family, so this will be cool. Watching it with these guys. But yeah, I'm actually very excited for the halftime show. I kind of Rihanna, it's someone I listened a lot to in middle school. You know what I mean? And then in our room we've been playing random Rihanna songs. Every song that we play, I'm this would be a 6 song, but halftime show. So I'm actually very very excited for the show. And not to be basic, but I always enjoy the commercials. So yeah, I mean, I think Sunday will be a great day.
Oh yeah, absolutely it will. It always, I feel like the only time it doesn't live up to the hype, I feel like, is if there's a bad game. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that's. I mean, I hope not, but I really don't think that's.
I don't know. I'd be cool if like it was like, maybe the Chiefs suffered the biggest Super Bowl loss instead of the Broncos. Like I would be kind of okay with that. Like maybe I'm not to like speak anything like jinx anything or say anything like that. I'm just saying I'd be okay with. I mean, I haven't really picked a team or anything. I've been pretty in the middle. As I think I've been fair. I hate both sides equally.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I hate the Chiefs way more than I hate the
Yeah.
Eagles. But Eddie, thank you as always for coming on. It was a good time. We're very excited for the game this weekend, and I wish you good luck as an Eagles fan. Yeah, anything you want to add?
No, thank you guys for having me. This is great. I really appreciate it.
All
Thank
right.
you, Eddie.
Sounds good. All right, so Jeff, one of the things I did want to ask you, because we did not get to talk about this, was with the NBA trade. We can take a little Super Bowl break here because we're gonna have another caller in a minute. But what did you like overall think about the Russell Westbrook trade, where D'Lo goes to LA? There's Malik Beasley on the Lakers now too, along with Jared Vanderbilt. And then any other trades that you really wanted to highlight?
So about the D'Lo trade to LA, I think it is a great trade for the Lakers because they've been talking about all year. They want to improve the roster, and they would only make trades that would improve the roster. And I think this trade does. You remember D'Lo actually did play for the Lakers. That's the team that drafted him a few years ago. And then he's been bouncing around a little bit with Brooklyn and Golden State, Minnesota, but now he's back in LA. And I think it gives them another score. I think it takes a little bit off of LeBron and AD and Rui Hachimura and others. And I think he's a guy that can really score, especially in bunches. If he gets hot, I mean, he's one of those guys where the hoop just becomes so much bigger. So I think that instant offense is something that they're going to love out in LA. And then getting Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt are nice too, because Malik Beasley, great 3-and-D guy. He's kind of been flying under the radar for his career, but he's more than capable of putting up 13, 14 points a game. And then you have Jared Vanderbilt, who's a young athletic forward who can handle the ball and kind of guard it 1 through 5 on defense. So I like this trade for the Lakers. Now for the Jazz, I think it was an okay deal. They required Damian Jones and Juan Toscano-Anderson and Russell Westbrook too from the Lakers. And they also did get the Lakers' first-round pick in 2027. So I think on their end, it was a pretty solid deal. For Minnesota, I don't think they really did anything great in this deal because they acquired Mike Conley. He's a 34, 35-year-old point guard kind of on the back end of his career.
On a big number.
On a big contract. And then I don't know. I feel like they just didn't do much there with the D'Lo trade. I feel like they could have maybe gotten a little more, but we talked about this the other day. I feel like some of these trades, you're looking at the return value for the team that's trading away the big name player, and they're not getting that much back.
I wanted to give credit though to one GM. I actually thought Sean Marks got a good return for Kevin Durant.
I thought he did too. Yeah, I agree.
That's what I would guess the price would be is 4 firsts.
I think so.
Yeah. But at the same time, too, you also gotta get some other stuff in return. And I thought they got solid players in return as well. So that's kind of the part that, getting like Bridges, I think is number one was the best part.
Yeah, I mean he's a great player. I mean, he's really blossomed into not just a 3-and-D guy, but he's a guy who can score and rebound and pass and do so many other things.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with
Mhm.
that. All right, are we ready for our next caller? I believe I'm gonna be calling him in shortly. So actually we can take a quick break and then we'll get our caller set up and we'll be right back after this.
Yeah.
You're listening to After the Whistle.
Yep, we'll be right back after this. Welcome back to WLOI, Loyola Radio, streaming online, at WLOI.org and Campus TV channel 111.1. You're listening to After the Whistle with Jeffrey Bazzi and Jimmy Cuddy. And now we're going to welcome in our third caller, Christian Sarian.
Yeah, Christian Sarian, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank
Of course, of course. Anytime. Let's just get into it. What are we gonna ask him, Jimmy? We got some birds questions right off the bat.
Yeah, Christian, the floor is yours. Obviously you said you had something about AJ Brown you wanted to tell us, so I'll just give the floor to you, Mr. Eagles.
Absolutely. Just a little fun fact for you guys. AJ Brown, lifetime career record for the Chiefs, 2-0, and he has 13 catches for 150 yards and a touchdown, which included a 9-catch, 133 yards and 1 touchdown game in the 2021 season versus the Chiefs when he was on the Titans. So I think AJ Brown is time for a big game. He's been very quiet, not only this postseason, but just kind of like the later stretch of the regular season turning into the postseason. I think he's due. I think he's gonna have a big game.
I definitely agree with that because I feel like at the beginning of the season he was clear cut wide receiver one, and then I feel like there was like this like balance of your team where it was like Devontae Smith was really carrying them because he had some really nice games. Like I felt like early on it was everybody was like, oh no, like is the AJ Brown trade like ruining Devontae Smith? Not ruining, but you know taking away his production. Well, no, it just ended up being that they found a balance, but they were just hot and cold at different times. But I agree with you, Christian. AJ Brown has been cold, and I would certainly say he's due for a big play.
Oh, 100%. And not only him, I think Zach Bannerman was one that should get his fair share of targets hopefully because look, I mean Jalen's been looking his way these first 2 games of the playoffs, but to no avail as of yet. But I mean Buzz Watkins has been a guy who's always primed for like that big play that gives that spark on offense. And I really do believe that he gets something going in the Super Bowl. He's just another guy. I can totally see a lot of people think, only think of Devontae and AJ when they're talking about the Eagles receivers. Everyone forgets Quez. I think Quez is going to have a big play. I think he's going to have a game-changing play. And we'll see.
You know, there's another guy on the Eagles offense that's really not getting any talk, but he's a great player. It's Dallas Goedert. Like, he's a bad matchup for the Chiefs defense as well. He's not on the level of a Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce is far and away one of the best tight ends to ever play the game. So I'm not going to sit here and make that comparison, but that doesn't change that Dallas Goedert is still very good at playing tight end in the NFL. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he has a big game, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but he had over 1,000 yards this season, just like Devontae Smith and just like AJ Brown. Right? Is it that true? Yeah, they all
Think so,
had 1,000
yeah.
yards. Yeah, that speaks to their production. So correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, I do think he's a guy that doesn't really get too much attention either, just because of Brown and Smith from the outside. But yeah, I think Christian's 100% right when you talk about AJ Brown being cold. It's not so much they haven't been targeting him a lot. I mean, they've been throwing him the ball, I think, a decent amount. But Christian, you correct me if I'm wrong. I just feel like sometimes Jalen and AJ aren't connecting, whether the throw is a little off or maybe it's kind of a bang bang play with the defensive back, excuse me. But yeah, I don't know. There's something that's a little off there, but I do agree he's 100% due, and I think he's gonna have a big game because he can just go up and get the ball whenever he wants. I mean, if you throw it into his vicinity, I trust him so much that he's gonna come down with it just because he has that kind of physique and hands where he can just make plays out of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. I think about just this is a game of matchups again. I think about Travis Kelce. Look, it's tough to cover because obviously, best set in the game. And I think back to the 2018 Eagles Pats Super Bowl where we were able to at least contain Gronk in that first half, and then the second half he just took over, put up 2 touchdowns and pretty much 100 yards when you had Ronald Darby covering them one-on-one. I really don't understand that scheme at all. That was just a really bad decision. I hope that history doesn't repeat itself in that case where you have a guy like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson that's trying to cover one-on-one with Travis Kelce, because that would, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Well, who covers him? Who covers him then? You're going to use a tight end? Do you have anybody that's that athletic? I mean, Edwards, is he athletic enough?
Maybe Edwards and maybe Kaiser White, but at the same time, you're going to have someone kind of act as a spy for close. He scrambles out of the pocket. So
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of puts your linebackers in Mahomes duty more opposed as the pass coverage. And I feel like you have no choice but to use a safety or a corner against them because I mean you're gonna have a DB on them just because nobody else is athletic enough.
exactly, Jimmy, exactly. And unfortunately, Chauncey Gardner's not the biggest guy. So
No. And Travis Kelsey's really big too.
I was gonna say it takes more than one person to tackle Travis Kelsey sometimes.
Yeah, or sometimes it doesn't, or sometimes nobody tackles him, and then he ends up in the end zone.
It's gonna be tough. They'll be up for the challenge though.
No, that's certainly something to think about. Is listen, Kelsey's probably going to get his. I would think he probably has a touchdown in this game just because of the way the Eagles. No offense, like the way that they match up against him specifically is just not great. But it's interesting to see though what Jonathan Gannon comes up with. I mean, where do you guys stand on him? How do you feel like he's done throughout this season?
No, I guess I'll go first just to keep it going. But yeah, I think he's been okay. I mean, I think the run defense is probably the main concern, but I feel like the secondary's pretty much been up to par. But yeah, I guess I'll throw it to Christian. But I was going to ask Christian too, and you can answer this after you chime in about the other question. But are you concerned about the run defense at all? Because it's probably the one thing that has kind of been the concern on defense. Because there's been a few times where we've let opposing running backs kind of just go off, but the Chiefs have a lot of different weapons at running back because they have Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon. Now they're getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire back, so he's now in the mix. So I don't know if you wanted to see what your thoughts are there. I would love to hear them.
Yeah, sure. Going to that first question, I like what Gannon's been doing all year. I do wish he blitzed more because the Eagles are one of the lowest blitzing teams in the league. I'm not exactly sure what their percent is at, but I know it's definitely one of the bottom teams. So I don't know. It's gonna be tough to try and blitz Mahomes just because he can evade the rush and just make some crazy plays. So who knows from that part? But in terms of stopping the run,
Isn't he better against the blitz? I'm pretty sure if you blitz him, he is actually better. Like statistically, when you blitz him, I'm pretty sure he has a way better game than he normally does.
if that's the case, then you're first gonna have to hope and pray that our pass rush gets to him and Reddick and DG and that piece because that's kind of the only way, honestly.
No, that's absolutely the way. You have to have a good pass rush against Patrick Mahomes. That is the only way that you have any chance of beating him. Just because he's so elusive in the pocket. I know the ankle, but I have a feeling that it's a lot better now because it has been almost 3 weeks since that happened.
For sure.
So he's definitely in a much better spot than he was. But I definitely agree with you, Christian. It comes down to the pass rush.
Yeah, exactly. And then just real quick about stopping the run. I'm not really sure how McKinnon and Pacheco have been this postseason, but I know that the Eagles.
They've been okay. Pacheco has been okay. He's been up and down. He's never had any 100-yard games, but he's been effective. I'll tell you one thing. Isaiah Pacheco is very difficult to bring down. Jeffrey, you have something you want to add on Isaiah Pacheco or Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Well, I was going to add
McKinnon.
about Pacheco. He had a pretty good game when they played Jacksonville. I didn't really look at the box score when they
79
played
yards.
Cincinnati. I'll have to look at that again, but
Only 39 against Cincinnati.
yeah, I just feel like he's really good at just breaking away from tackles because, like you said, he's hard to tackle. But yeah, McKinnon, he's one of those guys where he can kind of just use his speed. I feel like he's
McKinnon's
really good
in the
at
pass game. He's really
changing
good
speeds. He
in
can
the pass
slow
game.
up and be patient, but he also can just burst. But yeah, Edwards-Helaire is the wild card here. We haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of adds a new wrinkle to their offense, too. I mean, I would assume that they're probably going to use McKinnon and Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the pass game just to make it a little easier for Mahomes. I mean, think about it. If your linebackers are spying, then, there might be some room for the running backs to get a matchup that they like.
Yeah, I agree. And then I'll ask Christian, who of the 3 Chiefs running backs would you be concerned about the most?
I mean, I guess it's got to be Pacheco. The guy is just so elusive, and as Jimmy said, he's tough to bring down. I know the Eagles picked McKinnon well in that NFC Championship game back in 2018. So, they've seen it before, but I don't know if they faced a running back like Pacheco at all this year.
He's that special. I think you guys are putting a little too much stock into their running backs. I'm sorry, I gotta step in here. I think it's way more about Mahomes. That's the guy you gotta worry about. Mahomes. Because if they don't have Patrick Mahomes, if it's Chad Henne out there, you're not telling me, oh yeah, I'm really afraid of Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They average 4 yards a carry at best. It's not like they're that great at running backs. Frankly, since you guys have gotten Jordan Davis back too, you guys have not said his name. I was kind of surprised. Since you guys have gotten Jordan Davis back, You guys have been much better at stopping the run. Look what you did to the Giants. All they do is run the football. Look what you did against the 49ers. All they could do was run the football. Right? I mean, it's you guys are just playing better as is since you got Jordan Davis back.
Not only that, but we just have so many bodies like on the D lines that just rotate in and out that honestly the talent isn't that far off in terms of like disparity. You guys, I mean, you got Linval Joseph, Dominic Sue, Chester Cox, Stephon Marbury, Jordan Davis. I mean, come on, it's like it's unfair.
No, it's a loaded D line. Like there's a lot of guys capable of doing their jobs there. It's just obviously Jordan Davis was a high pick, so he gets a little bit of the status. And also, it took a hit when he wasn't in the lineup, right? I mean, we can all agree on that.
Exactly. That's why we have to have Joseph and Sue.
And listen, the credit to Howie Roseman. He gives you guys the players and the coaches find a way to get it done, right? That's what you hope happens on Sunday.
Definitely.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
All right, Christian. Anything else you want to add here before we wrap up and move on to our next caller?
Yeah, 27-24 Eagles win. No Birds.
I have the same score and the Birds winning. Let's do it, baby.
All right, Christian. Good luck. I wish you luck this weekend as a fan. I know obviously the Super Bowl, it can be a fun day or can be an awful day. It depends on obviously what happens. It's kind of out of your control too. That's the worst part. So all I'm saying is good luck and have a great time. Enjoy it, Christian. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Jimmy, and I hope you feel better. My guy.
Okay, thank you, Christian. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Christian.
All right, so we're gonna call our next Eagles crazy fan here. It's unfortunate too. We wanted a Chiefs fan, but there's none here.
Right. And we've been talking about this off the air for something else that we're doing with the Greyhound, but we just haven't found any Chiefs fans.
Yeah, there's like none here.
And I don't know
Why would
anyone.
anybody want to root for that team anyway? I can't say I blame them.
I don't know anyone from Missouri or Kansas City, but I just don't know anyone who is just a fan of the Chiefs. I know people who love Mahomes, but I don't know any Chiefs fans. It's actually crazy. You think there'd be one on this campus, and maybe there is, and maybe we just haven't found that person yet, but no, we still haven't found that person to this day.
Yeah, so no Chiefs fans. All right, we got Eddie Stank on the phone. Eddie, the floor is yours. I know you got a lot you want to talk about with this game, so just hit us with it. You're the expert. You're the Eagles fan. Let's hear it. What? What do you mean? It's literally the Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl week. All right. Well, I guess hit it. What is it? Is this gonna be like like Loizaga for the closers role for the Yankees, or what is it gonna be? No, we're not talking about the World Baseball Classic. Nobody cares. The World Baseball Classic is so stupid. It's so stupid. Who cares about the World Baseball Classic? It is literally so stupid. No, stop. Hold on. Why do you care about the World Baseball Classic? Like seriously, like what? Half the good players, like what good pitchers are pitching for the USA team? Like, have you looked at the pitchers? We're going to, if we don't hit 50 home runs a game, we're screwed.
Dude, we're
No, I will. Have you seen the Dominican Republic? Yeah. Did you hold on? Cano is on the lineup. He's in here. Yeah, but he's in there, which is kind of just funny. That's a good memory. Gary Sanchez. That really kind of ruins it. All right, so let's hear your Eagles thoughts. I know you got a lot of them. Ryan Tyrone waving in the window. What's going on, Ryan? Okay. The worst coaches we've seen. Well, I can tell you the top three in the NFL. All right, this is a little off topic here, but Jeffrey, come up with some names here. I'll rattle some off. Adam Gase.
Yeah, that's not the one.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Okay.
Nathaniel.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Bozzy just said Nathaniel Hackett. Freddie Kitchens.
That's a good one.
Yeah, some really horrible coaches on here. We're not doing this. We're not wasting everyone's time, wasting these horrible coaches. Speaking of coaching, Eddie, can I ask your opinion on the Julian Love comments this week?
Yeah, I'm really pissed off about those comments, actually. I have alone in my ear, like, talking, like, oh, I support that, I support that. That was an absolute ridiculous comment. Even, like, Julian Love and then the entire 49ers team has just been giving the Eagles so much bulletin board material this entire, like, last 2 weeks. I love it. You see, like, Robbie Gold's even joining in on the smack talk now.
That's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
You know, you're absolutely right. I mean, the Eagles have been really getting attacked out there, and I think it's a little bit of a discredit for Julian Love to give props to his own coach for having a good season.
You just won Coach of the Year last
Yeah,
night.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Even though he only had one division win. Ed, do you want to comment on that?
I know, yeah, I wanted to one division and Coach of the Year, that makes no sense.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous. I think Doug Peterson was robbed. He should have won last night.
Am I in the minority that thinks Dayball actually deserved it more than Doug Peterson?
You are absolutely in the minority, in my opinion, just because I feel like I think the Jaguars had the #1 overall pick last year. Has anybody almost went from the #1 overall pick? That's true. They were all
Right.
3 and 7.
But I think that's why he didn't win it. I think the fact that Dayball started 7-2 or whatever, and then they still had the winning record throughout. I think he just did more of a consistent job, I think, throughout the year than Peterson.
Yeah, I got
Peterson's job from going from the #1 pick to the playoffs, I mean, that's unbelievable. But I just felt like Dayball was a better coach throughout the entirety of the season. I feel like Peterson early on, I know he had to figure out a lot of things because that roster wasn't good, but he found a way to get them into the divisional round. So, I mean, he was right there. I just thought Dayball was more consistent throughout the season.
I don't know. I mean, they both kind of did similar things, but I'm sorry, one division win is just you finished third in your division. Like it's nice they made the playoffs. It's cute they beat the Vikings, who were terrible and whatnot. But then once they went up against real competition, let's be frank, they got curb stomped. They lost 35-7. The Jaguars didn't do that against the Chiefs. They came out there and actually put up a fight. I don't know. I just think, listen, if the Jaguars played the Giants, I mean, or did they? Did they play?
They did play. I
They did
think
play. Yeah,
the Giants won.
that's unfortunate. If they played at the end of the season,
The Evan Ingram Bowl.
yeah, maybe if they played later in the season, I could see that being a Jaguars W. But I guess
Live stream last night said something like about if he wants to like next year when he sees AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, he's like going for their heads.
yeah, I did see that. I did see that. And somebody actually replied to it with a video of him trying to hit somebody and then getting hurt.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was like one of the
Oh,
first
Jesus.
comments, which is I mean, it's kind of funny that he was like talking like that way, and then somebody found a video of him trying to do what he's saying, and then yeah, that's really a bad look. All right, Eddie. Yeah, I think they were really salty about that game. Like they were really salty. They must have really thought they were going to beat you guys. I mean, that's probably.
I mean, yeah, well, obviously you're gonna be confident, but they keep telling me go Purdy kind of stayed in the game. They would definitely won. No, that's BS.
All right. Well, hey, give me something to look forward to. Who's somebody you're like for the Eagles? You're like guaranteeing scores a touchdown this weekend.
So it's definitely not scoring a touchdown. I'm guaranteeing it.
Yeah.
I think AJ is finally going to get in. He said he's been held fly for 2 straight games. He's gonna move. He's a big stage player.
That's what everybody is saying. AJ Brown, Christian Therian. Okay, well that's interesting. So you have a big offensive game here for the Eagles. So
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you're implying either a blowout or a shootout. What are you thinking?
I think shootout. I wouldn't put the. I think Travis Kelce's gonna shoot you.
Yeah. I mean, that's the concern. Who guards him? Who would you guys say guards him? Like I know, like we ran through the scenarios. Is there anybody who comes to with Christian? We ran through them, but Jeff Boston, you didn't really say anything. Do you have? But is that a good enough matchup? Like
No, I would throw a second guy on him too. It's tough. I mean, he's a really, really tough cover. I would probably start with Gardner Johnson and then go from there.
Yeah, well, or maybe Jason will run like a touchdown in or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There might be like a Jason Kelce touchdown.
Yeah, so that's actually interesting too. I don't want to say this, but I could see it happening. If the Eagles do win, I could see Jason Kelce retiring.
Oh, 100%. I could too.
Mom said yesterday that she doubts he's gonna retire no matter what.
Really? I actually saw it too. Actually, I think they're playing next year. Do you play them next year?
We do play them next year.
Yeah, I remember seeing that she was.
Gonna retire.
That's true. It's possible he could retire.
Well, I did see something about Jason Kelce. I'm glad that Eddie brought it up. I think he would be indifferent no matter what the result is. I think it said that if the Eagles lost the Super Bowl, it wouldn't affect his decision to retire, or if they won, it wouldn't affect him either.
That's good. I guess that's good. I mean, he already won a ring, so it's not like it's a new thing for him.
Yeah, it's interesting too because he was talking about retiring at the end of last season too. I mean, it hasn't been like, I don't know. This is the first time we've talked about it too.
Yeah.
He said he was closer in 2020 because the team was so bad. He said after last year, though, he's having a lot of fun playing for the team. So
That's true.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it. They'll be having a lot of fun if they can win on Sunday. That's for sure.
yeah,
All right, so for you two, obviously this is a really big game. Like this kind of determines your month, like your next month mood, essentially.
yeah.
Ed, I gotta ask this. Like, would a loss to Mahomes here like take you off the Mahomes train forever? Because listen, boys, if you ever need somebody to talk about Mahomes with, like, I just want to be honest with you. Like, I am here for you. Like, I just want to be honest. Like, I am on your side for this game. Like, I am claiming it right now. I know you're big Eagles fans. You have my support. I want the Chiefs to lose this week. Okay, I am rooting for the Eagles. Want to make that clear. Yeah, I've been saving it for a while too. I know you expected it right away from me.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, well, don't worry. I knew it was coming the whole time, but for the record, I am rooting for the Eagles. So go Birds.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I will hate Patrick Mahomes probably forever if they wins this game.
Yeah,
And if the Eagles win this game, I'm just letting you know I'm calling them the greatest team of all time.
the greatest team of all time.
Yes.
That's ridiculous to say before it's happened, before the game. And I also disagree.
I'm calling them the greatest team of all time.
I also disagree.
Well, it's okay. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah, we'll have to agree to disagree. All right, Eddie, thank you as always for coming on. Any last thoughts you want to hit us with? All right.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, Eddie. That's one way to go out with a
One
bang.
way to go out. That is one way
Yeah,
to go
I never thought I'd hear you utter the words "Go Birds," but I just did.
Took a lot out of me, Boz. I'm gonna be honest, but eventually you have to step up and make, a decision. Don't worry, we're finally having our first Chiefs supporting caller, though. Tom Spallone. He's gonna be coming on shortly. He's obviously a good Giants fan. He's gonna be rooting for the. Oh, there he is. Tom Spallone. Is this him?
How we doing?
All right, Tom.
What's up, Tom?
So you're the first person to call into this radio station on behalf of supporting the Chiefs. So why don't you tell us why the Chiefs are going to win so we can laugh at you?
So I'm sorry, Mr. Cody. Before we get to this, people, I just want to talk about the, I want to talk about the anti-Giant media that's been going on so far of the show. And it has been for about.
Dave, are you talking about Dayball, Coach of the Year?
Right now because his head coach not have a good year, and the Giants head coach won head coach of the year.
That's ridiculous, Tom. I couldn't care less about the Giants. I could not care less. All right, let's hear it. Christian Kirk, who's not that good.
They got Ingram, who's good in that offense.
Ingram looked horrible. He couldn't catch a pass for the Giants. You're going to tell me now Ingram's a good player?
No, he was good with the Giants, I agree, but he had a good year with the Jaguars. He fit their system up. Like Peterson actually.
That's a credit to coaching, Tom. That's a credit to coaching. Finding a guy who wasn't good on his last team and fitting him into yours. How is that debunking the argument when it improves Doug Peterson's argument? No? Am I crazy here?
No, that he worked that offense. That's the credit to Peterson. But I'm saying overall, the Jaguars actually had money to spend this free agency, and the Giants didn't. So
yeah, because the Giants put themselves in cap hell, signing idiots like Kenny Golladay.
Yes, that's what Dave Gettleman did. So Dable was working with a lot less than the Jaguars were working with, and you know that. Their line is also much better than the Giants. So
That much better than the Giants. And people were calling Trevor Lawrence a bust after last year, after that Urban Meyer disaster. They talked about how the team was in complete shambles. Doug Peterson said when he came in, he didn't know if anybody was going to even show up for offseason workouts because of how horrible the franchise was the year before and how horrible the team was. I'm just saying, like, the Giants didn't have to worry about that. At least they knew everybody was going to show up. What did you say? Wait, what were they calling the Giants? Yeah, but this was worse. They were the #1 overall pick. they literally could barely do anything when they got one of their wins on the Carson Wentz famous disaster game. When the Colts just completely, I don't even know what they did to themselves out there, but they were a nightmare. And so they were lucky enough to scrape 2 wins by beforehand, but they had the number one pick 2 years in a row. Like it was a horrible roster. Like you're acting like it was just this great group of players. And I'm sorry, like I just disagree with you. They got rid of starters on defense. They did not re-sign Miles Jack. He was a key player on that defense. They got rid of him. They also got rid of Yannick Ngakoue the year before. Like this was not a good roster. This was not a good roster. I'm sorry, no. Like I think the Giants had a better like front defensively than the Jaguars ever did. Like I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, probably front, not linebackers though.
I don't think there's that much of a difference between the linebackers. I don't think that they have good linebackers. I really don't think they're skilled. Yeah, and that's essentially what you guys, the Giants were working with, but so were the Jaguars. And point is, I can understand why you think why the Giants coach Brian Daboll deserved it, and he had a great season. I'm not taking anything away from him, but
I agree with that. I think you also real quick, you just say the one division win. I don't understand how that's an argument. He still managed to win
because you got curb stomped. You were the third best team in your division. At least the Jaguars went from being the worst team in their division to the best.
I get we were third best, but like
A distant third. Like you lost to the Cooper Rush Cowboys. You guys were a distant third.
Yeah, but bro, like he had almost the same record as the Jags though. It's not like we had Dallas.
We actually had a better record than the Jags by the half game.
All right, Tom. All right. Listen,
I'm on your side.
You're talking about the regular season. The way that I see it is that they both had the same season because they both ended in the divisional round. Like I know it's a regular season award, but the fact of the matter is they both made it to the playoffs. They both won a game. I'll tell you what, I think the Jaguars comeback was super impressive. I mean, that's another I know that doesn't get counted into it, but hey, that should be another reason why. I don't know if Daboll could have did that with the Giants. I mean, was there any amazing comebacks that they had this season?
Jones had the best game of his career at that game, so I don't understand. That's like
the best game of his career. Yeah, no, I guess.
That's literally the best game of his career.
Yeah, and
That's a great game.
That's fine. Listen, I'm not trying to say that Brian Daboll is like some completely undeserving. I just would have voted Doug Peterson. That was my only point. So you can get on Arrowhead Tom now.
That's the only reason why
Yeah, that's probably the reason why. Is because I hate the Giants so much. I can literally lose sleep at night thinking about Eli Manning winning 2 rings, yet never being a good quarterback. It keeps me up at night, every single night. All right, so can we hear about the game here? I know you want to give us Mahomes Fest 2023. Tell us how great he is, because that's what you probably came here to do.
Yeah, I'm rooting for the Chiefs pretty heavy here. Kansas City Eagles win the Super Bowl. But
Boz, you want to respond to that?
No offense taken at all. It's a perfectly valid reason.
Yeah, he's just a sour Giants fan.
But the Eagles are obviously the better team in this game. Their defense is better than the Chiefs, and their run game is probably better than the Chiefs as well. So I think it's going to come down to the Chiefs being able to stop the run. If they make Hurts pass the ball, I think it's going to be a really close game. And Mahomes is going to have to do Mahomes stuff that he's done like all his career in the game. If he wants to win the Super Bowl, he's got to go like above and beyond. I think.
Maybe like a left-handed pass or two. You think any of those?
Maybe not. I don't know about left-handed. Maybe like a sidearm no look.
Yeah, something good. One of those highlight plays he usually makes against Denver, right? Yeah, one of those. That would be perfect. Yeah, I can't believe you actually came on here and you're picking the Chiefs, but you're saying the Eagles have a better, like far and away better roster. Do you think it's just going to be Mahomes has the game of his life?
Hoping the Chiefs.
Oh, okay, all right. So that makes sense. You're rooting for the Chiefs then. Okay, that makes sense. But you know like that it's probably going to be not great for Mr. Mahomes on Sunday. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that. I mean, Mahomes is. I've never counted Mahomes out, so I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs defense played well last week. I don't know if we'll be able to do that again, but
that's true. They did play a really good game against the Bengals, and the Bengals do have a good offense. I'm expecting the Chiefs defense to step up a little bit. Like I think they're going to make the situational plays. I don't think the Eagles offense is going to score at will against them. Just like I don't think the Chiefs will either. Like I think there's going to be some, unless if both defenses don't show up, this game will be insane.
Oh, this could be in the high 30s.
Yeah, this would be
or the
40s
if
both defenses did not show up. Because
Yeah.
there could be some really big plays.
no, I think it's going to be a shootout.
my opinion.
I could see that. I really could see that too.
My sleeper is the I'm sad to say this, but I think the Chiefs are gonna really utilize him this game. It's Stags, Giants, Davis, Tony.
Yeah,
Okay.
I could see that.
All eyes on the Eagles defense are gonna be on Kelsey and Juju. I think they're really gonna try to get Tony going. So
Yeah, and Reed likes Tony too. Like literally any time that he's been healthy, he tries and draws plays up for him.
Yeah, he
all
gets the
time.
ball a decent
He
amount,
does. He gets him the ball a lot.
especially for a guy who wasn't on the team earlier in the year.
Yeah, no, and they had that one trick play against the Raiders that they ran. It ended up getting called back as like a stupid like holding.
No,
penalty
yeah,
stuff.
they've really
that's-
integrated him
Yeah.
well.
No, Andy Reid knows what he's doing, unlike those coaches in New York. The last coaches, I'm saying, the last coaches, not Dayball. But at the same time, too, they still have to worry about the Eagles' O-line. I mean, that's going to be the thing that I think they have the advantage with. That's for sure. All right, Splone, anything that you want to add before we call it quits here?
not much. Yeah, we said the game should be doing.
For sure.
For sure. All right, Tom, thank you for calling
Thank you,
in.
Tom.
We
Appreciate it.
Have a good day. Have a great time watching the game.
Thank you.
All right, so we got one more, and it's the great Bobby McGinnis. So we'll wait for him. Anyway, Jeff, what is the thing that you're most looking forward to besides the game? Because obviously, we know that we talked about what's your favorite food? Like that's one thing I wanted to ask you.
Just the Super Bowl food?
Yeah, Super Bowl food.
I mean, I love just Tostitos, just tortilla chips with some salsa, some guac. I mean, I could eat that for hours.
Yeah, you're a basic guy.
Like
You're basic.
queso. I
Yeah,
love that stuff.
little chips and dip. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a big wings.
It's
guy.
weird. I don't really like dip, but I love salsa and
Oh.
guac, queso. But
That's interesting.
I like certain
strictly salsa.
I like certain dips, but I don't like all dips. I don't know.
All right, very interesting.
Some
I'd like-
weird thing that I've never really
I'd like to
liked.
welcome in a new caller. We have Bobby McGinnis calling in. Bobby, how are you today?
How's it going, guys? You know what? I like guac, but there's something I like a whole lot better, and that's gone.
Yeah, Revis got into the Hall of Fame too.
It was a great night to
So,
be a New York
yeah,
Jets fan.
That was last night was the Jets.
Congrats
Super
to you
Bowl.
guys.
So, are they gonna raise a banner in MetLife?
Well, they already put Davis in the Ring of Honor, so as far as Sauce and Garrett Wilson, they're well on their way.
Okay, all right. Well, they're well on their way. Wow, that is strong words for a fan of a very unlucky fan base. But I mean, I can't blame you for being optimistic. I would hope that it can get improved one way or another. All right, Bob, let's hear your thoughts on the game here. Hit us.
All right, well, Jeffrey, you're not gonna like the sound of this one. I'm riding with the Chiefs this weekend.
Arrowhead Bob does not disappoint. Arrowhead Bob refuses to back down from that notion.
Yeah, if you think Andy Reid's losing to the Philadelphia Eagles, you're sadly mistaken. He will have a nice plate of cheeseburgers for him waiting in the locker room. And yeah, I mean, you just can't beat Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry, Jeff.
Well, is it just Patrick Mahomes? I mean, Travis Kelce is probably going to have a large part in that too, I'd assume. That's pretty much what we're saying. But how do you think the Chiefs defense matches up against that Eagles offense, Bob? Because that's really the biggest concern for the Chiefs.
Well, the scariest thing is that the Eagles can run on you all day.
And the Chiefs aren't that good at stopping the run.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be other people besides Chris Jones stepping up in this game.
I agree with that.
I'm glad you brought that up too, because
100%.
we've been talking about how Chris Jones is really the major threat for the Chiefs pass rush. I mean, they have other guys too, but he's the main guy you got to focus on.
Yeah, they're gonna need other guys to step up. That's what's gonna come down to.
No, that's absolutely true. They're going to need a lot of guys on their defense to step up because they're going up against a really good offense that literally, I would say, checks the box in every single area.
Well, and I'll flip it to the other side. I think for the Eagles D, I think the fact that Kelsey is the number one concern, I mean, that's the guy you need to focus on, obviously. But the fact is, Mahomes can really spray it around. And this series had to do that more just because they lost Tyreek Hill. So it's not like you're focusing on just two guys and then you take them out of the game and you basically win. You kind of have to focus on a lot of guys. And I think Mahomes, even last week with the ankle injury, he was still spraying it around pretty well, and he looked pretty comfortable.
I think of his first 10 passes, 7 were to like different receivers.
And I remember, this is a random game to bring up, but when they played Tampa Bay back in week 4, I remember we were talking about this, Jimmy, and Bob, I'm not sure if you remember this game at all. It's kind of way back in early September, October, whatever. But I think the Chiefs in that game had maybe 8 or 9 different players catch at least one pass. I mean, that's the type of thing that they can do.
Mhm.
And I think it just puts a lot of pressure on the Eagles because they got to worry about this guy and this guy and this guy. They have a lot of different guys who can just be all over the field.
Yeah, it's true. I'm excited to see how they use like a guy like Kadarius Toney.
Yes, Malone was concerned about that.
Was one of the previous caller.
He was the
He
previous
was.
caller.
Yeah, this is a rough week because either Kadarius Toney or James Bradbury, one of them's bound to have a good day. Both for Giants.
And one of them's getting a ring. So there you go.
That is true.
And you know what Tom's getting? Coach of the year. He's gonna be he's gonna be still be calling after the whistle, complaining that people said Brian Daboll didn't deserve coach of the year. That's what he's focused on.
Smith, but it's a weird award because the criteria is very vague. We've seen players win it coming off injury. We've seen players win it just by simply starting, like Geno Smith, coming off with a backup role. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
That's interesting. I'll let you go first, Jeff.
So I honestly forget who the other nominees were for that award.
Saquon.
Saquon, and then was there another one besides him?
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure they were the top 2. But Brandon Graham must have been pretty deserving too off the
Brandon
injury.
Graham was definitely probably in the conversation. I think Geno, I guess, deserved it. He had a pretty good year. I thought coming in to the year, they weren't really expecting much out of him and the Seahawks, but I thought early on he was really surprising. I definitely think he hit a speed bump in the middle of the year because he definitely declined as the
No,
season went
I
along.
would say not in the middle of the year. It was more so through the end of the year. Once December rolled around, I thought that was kind of when they went downhill a little bit.
Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, you're probably right because they were 7-3 at one point, and they were probably gonna win the West unless the Niners, I don't know,
Got it together. And they
got
did.
it together, and they did, and they won 12 in a row before losing the Eagles 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I thought Smith deserved it for the most part, but I don't know. Saquon there was a tough guy, I guess, to beat out, but
Yeah. No.
I guess props to Geno.
Yeah, no, props to Geno because coming back from obscurity is hard. I think that's something that's definitely should be appreciated. But Bob, I agree with you. There's not really a criteria. Like,
It's weird. I don't have an issue with Geno winning, but I don't know. A lot of people saying Saquon could win it too, and I wouldn't be mad at them either.
no, yeah, I can see either guy being deserving. Geno did have a really nice season. I was kind of surprised Pete Carroll didn't get any coaches of the year votes, like coach of the year. I was really
Yeah.
surprised for that.
Yeah, I agree. I saw like Kevin O'Connell got a vote ahead of me, which doesn't really make much
And
sense.
Sean McDermott got 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just ridiculous.
That is surprising.
Yeah, so 8 wasted votes essentially there. Oh, and then also Dan Campbell got a vote. So, I mean,
I
not
also saw Tua Tagovailoa had a MVP vote. Maybe it was like a 5th. I don't know. They ranked the way they rank them now. You can pick like 5 guys and rank them.
yeah.
Now at a different amount of points. So I saw Tua made the list, which is just embarrassing.
Well, I mean, he probably shouldn't have been in. He was in the MVP conversation earlier in the year, but as the year closed down, we obviously saw he got injured and his effect became less